In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Medioevalis Writing Pads. I'll go over the specs, I'll do a paper test, and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about these pads coming up. Blake here with Blake's Broadcast. On this channel, I review fountain pens, paper, and ink, and as always, I put links in the show notes in the description below. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, it really helps out my channel. Alright, let's get on with the review. So these are the Medioevalis Deckled Edge writing pads. This is a line of stationery that I've used for about 15 years now, and I really do like it. I like it enough that I've decided to carry some of their products at thepapermind.com. So I have these writing pads, and then I also have a few letter and card sets. The writing pads are what I like to use the most. They come in standard A5 and A4 sizes, so you can find the corresponding envelopes with them relatively easily. Now, one thing I do want to just note is that these are no longer technically branded Medioevales. They call them medieval style stationery or something now. I think there may have been some kind of dispute with Fabriano, which is a very big paper company in Italy, and their parent company is Fedrigoni, which is one of the biggest paper companies in the world. They also have a line called Medievales, so I think Rossi 1931 lost the branding to it, but this is the line that I've been using a lot. I'm not as familiar with the Fabriano version, so I'll have to take a look at that. But anyway, just clearing up possible confusion, this used to be called Medievale. I'm calling it that because that's just what I've always known it as. Now, also just talking about the Fabriano version and this version, they both use what's called the Amalfi method to produce paper. This is a 12th century method. It's very old, very slow to make, and you get this really good texture. And actually on the belly band here, you can see the paper that's inside the notebook. So on these are cream, these ones with the yellow cover, and the one with the blue cover are white in color. And if we put them on their sides, you can just see the difference in the color there. Now, in terms of what you get 20 sheets, and so that'd be essentially 40 pages. The paper is 120 GSM, and it's got a decal edge, and it has a self-decaling perforation. This is one that I've been using. It's almost up, which we'll take a look at. Now, obviously, I have a lot of pages taken out of this. So you have a blotter sheet here with the Medioevalis logo kind of embossed in there. It's really nice. And then we have the sheets, and you can see this is sort of I've taken some sheets off of here, and it does a self-decal when you pull them off. And I'll do that. I did my paper test on the very back here. But anyway, 40 sheets. And so in terms of pricing, they're very reasonably priced for the quality of the paper that we get. So let's just tear this guy off here. And then we have a very nicely deckled sheet on all four sides. So pretty cool that they have a deckled perforation, I think. Now, in terms of pricing, the A4 size is $15.99 and the A5 is $13.99. So I think really reasonably priced for high quality Italian stationery like this. That's why I've been using this for so long, is that it's actually quite reasonably priced. There are some other brands that I also like Pineider, Smithson, that are a bit more expensive, and when it just comes to like the overall style and writing on this paper, this is really hard to beat for the price, in my opinion. Now, in terms of the paper, you can see it has a very strong texture to it, which you would think would be unpleasant for writing with fountain pens, but I actually really love it. This is really nice to write on with fountain pens. I'll go through the paper test here, and then we can do some more live writing. Oh, and also, because we do carry these at thepapermind.com, for Blake's Broadcast viewers and subscribers, you can get 10% off with code BB10 at checkout. So looking at the face of this, the texture of the paper does definitely influence the look of ink on the page. And we can see that a lot here on the Pilot 6mm. Now, we do get some, I think, proper feathering here. And again, this is a very wet pen. Then going down to the Pilot, the double broad here We don't have any feathering. It actually looks pretty smooth. I think we see some, again, of the texture of the paper coming through. Lamy OB nib looking good. Lamy Safari 1.9 millimeter stub looks quite good. Platinum Vibe medium looks good. Yeah, the fountain pens look quite good. Otofude Ball, this is always kind of a ragged looking pen unless you're using something like Cosmo Airlight, and that definitely comes through here. I don't think we're seeing anything that's proper bleeding, but definitely has a ragged look to it. The Pilot V10, more so than normal, I would say, definitely has a fuzziness to it, but again, I don't think it's bleeding. And then all of these gel pens look pretty good. Pentel Sign Pen, you can see some of the texture of the paper through that, not too much though. Pilot Oil Drawing Pen, Sharpie. Overall, the face of this I think looks really good. The one that I would say I maybe object to most, probably the Pilot 6mm. We definitely do get some bleeding there. Yeah, I would say that's the one that kind of maybe bugs me a bit. But again, for writing, you're probably not going to be using this type of pen. Now, if we turn it over, we do see we definitely did get bleeding in spots, especially those spots where we crossed over a couple times. So that's definitely apparent. None from the Pilot BB nib, the Lamy OB, we did see just a few spots there. And then the rest of the fountain pens, we didn't see anything. Pilot V10 is a very juicy rollerball, 1.0 millimeter. That one came through a little bit. And then interestingly, the Schneider Express fine liner or felt tip pen came through a little bit. Pilot Oil Drawing Pen, actually pretty good performance for Pilot Oil Drawing Pen. It came through in a few spots. And then we definitely got, some penetration from the Copic and the Sharpie kind of as expected. So for this, type of sort of handmade old school paper, I think this performance is really good. And for all of the fountain pens especially, I would have no problem writing on both sides of the page. Now, doing some writing on here, let's come in a bit. You can start with this Hakase, which is a double broad italic. You can definitely feel some texture there, but it is quite smooth. Now going to a more typical pen, this is a Platinum Medium 3776 nib. It's definitely an absorbent paper, so when I'm writing on this, it definitely has a uncoated feel to it. It has a very natural feel, which I really like, and writing on it, you can tell the ink is definitely soaking into the paper. Now going with a fine nib, this is a Sailor 1911 Rialo or something like that, some nonsense word that they came up with. This is a fine, and this is a very fine, very, what I would say, a very scratchy nib, as is typical of Sailor fine nibs. But it actually writes, I mean, I know you can hear the feedback on this, but it's pretty darn pleasant to write on. I really love this paper. So even though you get some feedback there, it's a really pleasant feedback. I haven't really found a fountain pen that I just don't like the feel of writing on with this paper. It's really, really nice. So what are my pros and cons for the Medioevalis Deckled writing pads? The biggest pro, the reason to buy these, is the beautiful paper. It is very fountain pen friendly, and it has a gorgeous texture to it. I also like that they come in standard A5 and A4 sizes so that you can easily find envelopes to go with them. I also like that there's a blotter sheet. It's just a very nice package for a pretty affordable price. It's really, I think, a very good value for paper of this quality. When you hold the paper in your hand, it has a very special feel to it, and despite the texture, it's surprisingly enjoyable to write on. So this has been one of my favorite papers, stationery grade papers, that I have used for, I think, the last 15 years or so. I've been using this excellent paper. Now, in terms of cons, it is only 20 sheets, or you would say I don't know, 40 pages if you write on both sides. Not a lot. This is, definitely too premium, at least for me, to use as just a standard notepad, even though I would absolutely love to do that. It's really more for special correspondence, using it as cards, that kind of thing. But that is pretty much it. Do you guys have this pad? Do you like this pad? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more fountain pen, paper, and ink videos, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much, and until next time.